Is that gonna show? Okay, there you go. That shows. Okay. Sorry, that was just a little bit of a mishap there. Let's try that again. Yeah, I had to restart my entire setup here for this to work out. Okay. Good. So we're finally back yet again. So we're still in process for this inner circle companion model here. I was still getting through finishing the layer of Screamer Pink to get this that purple color on his robes to pop out here. So let's try for that. Okay. Still got this area that's underneath his armor here. We got to get this guy going right there. In this section here, behind his arm. Okay. So hopefully if we finish that crevice, that should really help bring this a little bit more to life. Okay. And then here. Okay. Now there's a few spots that are kind of to see that aren't fully fleshed out yet, so I want to make sure this is all there. Let's make sure we get this. Maybe should also getting a few layers. Only some parts that should be able to get a bit of depth on his robes here. Okay. And that really dulled away. Wow, I can't see anything out on the top of his head. So we got to make sure we get as much of the Screamer Pink on the top of his head as well. Okay, if I can focus. All right, yeah, that hood is coming to life a little bit there. All right, that puts a lot of good highlights where it needs to be there. That is quite good. The question is, where else does the remainder of this pink need to go? I think we have a few edges to touch up here. Okay. Is there any other things I need to worry about with this? Okay. Think that will do it for the robes. I think I got covered everything I needed. Oh wait, no, I didn't. I remember now. We have this little section underneath his shoulder pad, which I have not gone to doing just yet. Let me quickly set something up here. Okay. So let's go ahead and throw this over here for now. Okay. So we got this little spot here underneath his shoulder pad there, which needs to get both layers of treatment here. So we got to start back again with some of the Gal Vorbak red. Let's get this through here. Okay. We'll need just a little bit so I can only get it straight from the pot here. And we need a little bit more. Okay, good. So we have that started there. Let's go ahead and see if we can get now the Screamer Pink on there once it dries. Do I have enough Screamer Pink to go around? It's kind of watery. Let's make sure. Is there anything else that needs to be pinked up? Not really. Oh, I don't have a bright red. We need to do bright red for the seals. Oh, we need to go back. Okay, that's another armor plate right there. If we can see it, we got a little bit of an armor plate back there. We need to go back with some more green. Are there any other greens I need to slap? I might need to slap on again. Did a couple oopsies there, so we gotta green up his collar there. All right, that actually turns out pretty okay for his arms and hands. It's a little bit faded on some areas, so yeah, thanks James. Yeah, the model is coming together a little bit. Obviously, finally, because we get the contrast between the pink and the green, it does stand out a lot better. So it is coming to life a bit here. But with that, let me get one last bit of Screamer Pink. There's one specific spot we didn't cover, and we should go back to a few of the greens to finish that up as well. Okay. So let's pink this up here. Where the robes and the armor connects here. I think I might need just a little bit more than I thought, so let's scoop out some. Now, as you need to double check that all your citadel pots are all closed properly. You don't want them to dry out on you or get crusty and stick to the lid. Okay, let's get a bit more here. Okay, got a few crevices we need to get underneath his arm. And that should be almost it. Okay, I think that does it for all the Screamer Pink that we need. It's good. So we got the rose, we got the dark green there. And I think these, yeah, those, I've had a feeling we might need to go a few more green spots here, where some spots were faded, and get back to that. So let's do that, and then hopefully I can try a bit of silver. It's meanwhile a little bit on some silvery parts, and maybe some parts that I'll be the lantern, his belt maybe, and then his sword. I think maybe we can start with the one coat of silver to see what that looks like. Silver right on black, we'll see how that interacts. If not, we might have to give it a coat of white to begin with. Okay, so let's go get some of this. This hand seems to do a great job of fading away. Maybe because this paint, I don't know. This paint, it seems to be, AK's paint seems to be quite a bit watery to begin with, but maybe because I'm trying to use it more like a contrast paint, if anything. But in any case, let's see if we can later on some more onto that armor plate right there. Yeah, we'll have to live with that for now. Maybe because I didn't shake the AK paint. Maybe that might be the thing. I didn't shake the AK paint very well before I dolloped it out to my wet palette. Let me double check something here. Because this AK paint, it looks really nice and green. And it looks nice and green when it's wet, but maybe it's because I didn't shake it well enough when I dolloped it out onto my wet palette. Oh well, that's just the reality of it sometimes. Okay. Let's see, let's get another coat onto his collar piece here because there are a couple of oopsies on that. Okay. I think I'll have to just live with that for now. Let me try this actually. Let's see, can we really clump that all up here? Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can get some silver on here. Again, I have an 8K silver here for as a metallic color. I'd like to see how well that fares up into this. All right, so we have some AK metallic silver. I want to do some metallics on this guy, especially with some area. Obviously, the sword. We got some of the lantern without the smoke, and then this little upper piece of his power pack there. And maybe he has a belt buckle specifically that has cords around it. So I'm gonna give that a go with some silver. Let's really make sure to shake this guy up because I don't know the last time I dolloped out 8K right there, it didn't seem to hold that much pigment to it. That looks promising. Take this corner right here. Okay. Can we get a good metallic sheen on this guy? Let's be a bit brave. Let's get this right on the sword. Ah, yes. Now that shows up. Well, that's a nice big sword piece right there. I actually maybe want to do some contrast blue on get a nice floating blue color as we work it our way up. Might be able to get a good effect on his blade here. As such as one of the great, fierce and mysterious pieces of the armament of the great Calibanite armory as they pull it out straight from the rock itself. So okay. Spots here. What is missing on that? This doesn't look really symmetric with this first layer. I guess because I went inside with the first. Sure, we'll live with that. Okay. Sure, that blade is looking nice so far. Let's see, is there anything we can do? Yeah, because we got skulls in the middle of the blade in that black area that it's kind of hard to see right now because the silver is reflecting so much light back to the camera. But in the area that's black that climbs up the blade, there's a lot of skulls in there. Don't know if should try something about that. Well, nonetheless though, let's see. We're gonna silver up his little symbol on top of his power pack here. So let's get that going along. Okay. It's looking a bit more like a halo, if anything, which quite fits the theme here. Okay. Put this through here. Okay. Now I gotta be careful here. We don't want to get silver on the smoke. We just want silver on the parts that that is going to produce the smoke. Okay. So, Benny's back again. Yes, hello, Benny. You caught us on the YouTube side of things, where we're doing our we're just painting some models right now. We'll have to see if we can get a game set up later, but I just want to see if I can finish this model, see what I can do with the paints that I currently have. So, let's see what also makes sense to be silver. Maybe the hilt. Let's be a bit brave here. Let's get silver on his great hilt here on his massive sword. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Ben, you already know that Boaz is so much a better painter than me, but we can try to do our best too here. Let's chill for now, see what we can do. Okay, so we can get his hilt painted up here. Man, I had to go and paint that skull later on. That's in the middle of his hilt. We have to deal with that later. see. Oh, great. Now those little tassets are blocking my way to the hilt. Let's see here. Okay, so maybe also the bottom of his handle, the pommel right there, maybe we can paint that silver. Hopefully leave the handle itself intact, as that'll be wrapped in, I guess, some leathery color that I don't have yet. I may need to buy one later. Okay. So we got his pommel, we got the hilt on either side, and we have to clean that up a little bit. Right before we get to the actual skull there. Okay. Then maybe the lantern itself could be silver on both top and bottom, and then we leave it for the smoke. I think I could try to go for some smoke effects, or this started on the smoke on the afterwards with some gray. Get started with that. And maybe I can dull out this silver here, because I think the silver in lantern is quite bright, but I can dull it out with a few layers of gray afterwards. So that shouldn't be too big of a worry on that one. Okay, that's the base done. Just bottom side here. So we make sure we get the main body of this lantern here. Make sure we try not to get the spots that the smoke are pouring out of. So I'm going to reshape my brush here. Okay, got a bit of a harder to reach spot back there. Let's see if we can get it. And if the light can help me out here. Getting there with this. Start with that layer, and then we can throw on some more layers of other colors to get a better effect here, because this guy full silver doesn't exactly cut it for me, but we can throw some colors on top of it afterwards. Okay. Well, that's just about there. Got this guy and his lantern that's fully silver right now, and we'll slap on some more colors in a bit after it's dry. Okay. Let's actually go back to the sword for a second. I want to see if I can get an effect here. I need to pull out some... Take some white and some blue. I need to get my, I think was it Krog Brew? Just a second. I need to get a blue off the shelf here. Okay. So, let's see here. So I have... Unfortunately, this spilled a bit, but Talisar Blue is a contrast paint. No, Komor, yes, thank you for coming in here. Yeah, we just caught us while we were painting our one Inner Circle companion, so we finished up on some silvers. Yeah, so we were just see if we can get some effects on his great sword there, because it shouldn't be, at least in my opinion, should not be pure silver. So let's be a bit brave here. I don't exactly know what this is going to look like if we go, yeah. So thank you for coming in here, Nelkumar. And if I can open this... Oh, yeah, unfortunately some of it spilled, so it kind of messed up the, got crusted on the lid there. Yeah, kind of wacky, but such is the way of painting. All right, let's be a bit brave here. Let's see what kind of effect this looks like if we slap this on top of the silver. Oh, no, not the worst. It's more of an inky blue feel. Let's see, because I want to make it blued almost like it's like a blued steel sword. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is the first time painting this exact model. I've been painting my Tau army for quite a while. Dark Angels is my second army, so it's gonna be a good time to test out what the dark greens with the pink robes, and now a nice, hopefully a good bluing effect on the silver of the sword will look like. And then we can go over with some more whites to, I guess, kind of hopefully show a bit of the powering up level of this guy here. It's not the worst. I think it'll come a lot farther here. Yeah, okay, so no, come on, what is your, what is the chapter that you're running then? Because obviously I'm running Dark Angels here, so. Second Army Tyranids. Oh yes, yeah. Tyranids are something that draws a lot of people's attention with how they swarm up and things like that. Ultramarines, yes. Okay, the Blue Boys. Yeah, they are a lot of fun. Very easy to follow along with the box arts for all the things that are available to you. Yeah, I guess my gripe about contrast paints, I got to keep pulling them from the bottle because it's hard to really get them grouped up on your wet palette. But such is the way it goes when you paint. That's really dark blue. I've glopped up too much. Let's see. Let's hold off on some for now. Oh yes, yeah, decorating bases. I see. Yeah. Well, my brother gets mad at me because he's the expert painter between us two, and he doesn't like the fact that I don't really do much to my bases. It's a bit too tedious, but I should be getting around to doing that. Okay. Well, this isn't so bad. Gives it a very interesting tinted effect, I would say. If my left hand can stop shaking. Yeah, because actually this specific model, also something funny about it is that when I was building it, I kind of messed up, and his left foot is actually off the ground, off the base, because I angled it wrong. So I just snapped off some sprue and just glued it underneath as a bit of a stand. That's not part of the real model, but yeah, the closest thing to decoration I have on this guy is going to be that. as obviously we already know, as every leader of the squad must always have a tactical rock that they can stand on top of to show that they're the leader, right? So that's my version of that. Even though it's completely my fault that his feet, both his feet are not touching the base as it should. Okay. Yeah, exactly. But adds an interesting story to it. Okay, so that's the blue on his sword. We can try to do some. Again, this first time I'm going to try doing any sort of lighting effects. I can do that with my white afterwards, but I'm going to try gray on the lantern. The lantern's a bit too silver for me, for my taste. So see if I can get a good gray, or maybe a contrast white here, because Apothecary White has a little bit of an off-white look to it. So let's see how this can go. Let's make sure to close this one properly here. Closed, good. Okay, let's get an Apothecary White here. And let's see how this layers on top of this guy over here. Does that dull it down enough? We'll see what it looks like when we lather it on top. Okay, I'm gonna need a lot more for this. Let's scoop out some, if I can. Scooping out contrast paints, always an interesting feel to it because it doesn't really clump up the way the standard base acrylics do. Okay. Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. Thank you for showing up. Anyways, yeah, Nel Kumar, yeah. Thanks for coming in. Hopefully, we'll catch you on the next time. Yeah, you stream about 3 times a week, so hopefully, if you hit us with a follow, yeah, we'll see. Fortunately, I don't have a command for exclamation point lurk, sadly, but yeah, hopefully, we'll catch you next time. Okay. That dulled it out slightly, so let's do the same thing to this top here. Okay. I guess I'll take that. All right. So let's switch over here. Let's go get some gray. Get him on a smoke effects here on as a starting moment here for his. Maybe we should gray up his hilt as well. Hilt is a little bit too shiny. I want to dull that down slightly too. Let's see, so we're switching over. This kind of got messed up because some of my contrast paint's well done. But this is Vallejo's dark gray. The paint is fine. The bottles is kind of messed up, but such is the experience of traveling with paints. Paint's just fine. We got some dark gray on there. Now Vallejo's is known for being very, very transparent and thin, so their base paints are almost like contrast kind of, but their pigments aren't as strong with that. But let's see what we can do. If we throw some gray on there, yep. It doesn't really show very well because it's on black primer, but we'll see what it looks like once it's fully dried and layered on there. Trying to think about it. So because this is smoke, it should be, I think the most realistic thing is that the smoke should be darker towards the lantern and lighter outside. If we can all agree that's kind of how smoke works in real life. I'm terrible at smoke effects. It's like my first time really trying it for real, so we'll we'll see how it looks like once I'm done. Okay. All right, that's a good starting point for that. We'll wait for this to dry and then we'll slap on some more there. We got to do the smoke now on top of his power pack here. I don't have any blacks on me, actually. That's unfortunate. I don't have any black paints exactly on me, so we'll have to figure something out for that. Yeah. Well, I suppose this dark gray can be the lower color then. We can make do with that. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. If I try to get a bit of gray on top of the silver of the hilt, how would that look like here? Let's get a slight bit here. Wow, that really covered all of it, didn't it? Wow, wasn't expecting that. Let's see. Do I have a contrast I can use? Don't really have much on me right now on that department for the hilt. Oh well. Anything else for grays that I can do? Well, we might as well get to graying up this little bit of rebar that I thought would fix this model. So let's do that part now. Oh yes, thank you. Yes, Mijin is saying that we're painting nicely. I suppose it's actually kind of one of the better ones I've done so far. So okay. And then I need to make sure I gray up the exhaust ports of his power pack. It is important to make sure we do properly. Okay. I think we'll have to leave that. Okay, so let's try it again. Let's be brave again. Let's see if we can get some whites on his sword to really spice it up a little bit. So we got the base of the silver, nice metallic on there. Got a bit of blue contrast on there to really sparkle it up there. But now, I think we need a more detailed brush here. So let's see, do we have a good detailed brush to use? We need to make sure we can draw like lines on this guy. Okay. Got a nice thin detail brush here. That's very, very sharp point that we can try to do here. All right, so I'm gonna try using a bit of the Vallejo's white here. So we'll see how this guy goes. We try to really spice up the edges and maybe even a lighting effect on the sword. I should get this a little bit diluted as well so we can work our way around with it. Good consistency. Let's wipe this off. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Gotta be a little brave, but let's see. If we simply drew the line, we need a little bit stronger pigment there. It kind of clumps up even though I got this detailed brush here. Wow, that really clumps up. Jeez, can I let's get more detail off this? Let's wipe that off. If I can. Let's try that again. Man, this supposed to be a sharp edge, but why is it really, really wide? Okay, so let's work on a bit of the sharp edge of the sword. That'll have to do for now, I suppose. It's kind of hard to see on the camera too, but it looks like I'm almost drawing like tree branches on the sword, but whatever. I'll live with it for now. We'll figure something out later. That looks a little bit better. Kind of. We'll have to do with that. This is the best kind of electric effect I can get on his big blue sword now. Okay. Such is the way that goes. All right, I think I need to reapply the silver onto his hilt there because that gray completely overpowered it. So let's get back there. Let's put that back on there. And I'll go back to some whites. We'll put whites on the skulls there that are on the sword. And stick with this brush for a little bit longer now. Okay, let's get some silver here. Okay, this hilt here, I slapped on some gray. It did not work. Just completely overpowered it, made it completely drab. Do want a nice metallic hilt. Hopefully that can show that this is really a sword that has a big deal to it. As it does in the game. Okay. Kind of fixed it back up with another touch of silver on the hilt. Now we got some skulls, one right in the middle of the hilt. And it's kind of hard to see, but we got one skull in the middle of the hilt, and then we got skulls lining up on the base of the sword there. So let's go back to some white. Let's fill those guys in. There's a little bit of the sculpt behind it too. Let's see if I can match that up properly. Oh, that'll have to do. Okay. Let's go line up some skulls here on the sword itself. Let's go from there. Maybe I should do a bit of gray on the inside there to really make that whites of the skulls pop out a bit more. Maybe we can contrast those skulls because that's really, really white. And you can do a bit of apothecary white to contrast those skulls there. Lined up in there, that's fine. I've just got a few more touches to do on that. Okay, those skulls are in there. Just a little bit more. All right. Do I need to be brave here and really try to get in between them? Because any real oopsie would be a really big oopsie, putting a really dark gray on those white skulls that are on that level of the sword. Whatever. Let's just do some contrast. Let's see if we can fill in the gaps properly. Let me get my bigger brush here and then we'll throw some on there. And see how that goes. Okay, so good old apothecary white. Back to Citadel's normal paint colors here. I can, there you go. Okay. Those down a little bit. I think I'll have to take that for now. Okay. Let's go back here, do that as well. Okay. All right, that brought it a little bit more to life with the skulls there. Yes, Gentex, yes. Thank you, yes. Hopefully, yes, that is kind of the bigger goal then. Yeah. If my painting here that gets people back to the polished aims, that's the better for it, because I am also getting tired of seeing my own models just show up gray on the tabletop, so at least just a little bit can go a long ways here. and we'll see how the rest of this goes. So, let me see here. Right, okay. Double check one thing here. Okay. I think I need to send out another message here, and then we gotta get to the next step here, which I think for this guy, what can I, because I don't think, because I guess the wings could be straight up white. We can try that. We'll get to his wings there, and then the wings on his shoulder pad. I don't have a good red for the sword on in between the wings of his in between the wings. I'll work on that. And then maybe if I water down some white, we can try to get something going here. Or maybe do the contrast apothecary white for the lighter side of the smoke. If they start out gray, we can work on that. I think, yeah, because I want red cords as well. I need to go back. Maybe I need to run to the store next time and get some reds for the swords, the cords, and the wax seals, of course. And we need a bleached. Oh, every time I start painting, you think about all the more paints that you need to get these right things here. So we need some bleached whites. And I still don't know. Do I just try to go for? You can try to go for one of the colors back again on the handle here. We'll work on that. Okay. Let me very quickly send out a message to someone here, and then we'll see what our next steps are on this guy. Okay. Alrighty then. So why don't we get started here? Let's go and do. Let's just do white. So let's go back to white here. Need my very fine tip brush here. And let's get going on the wings here. So let's get started. Let's see. I'm going to be a little bit brave here. And go straight for the wings on his chest plate here. It's not too bad. Hopefully we can get enough attention to detail here to make sure I don't make any oopsies on his pink robes that I worked so hard for. Okay. Okay. And that can go to pass for some wings there. It's meant to be fully white anyways. All right, let's go to his shoulder pad. Oh, come on, am I having internet problems again? Sorry, the computer just yelled at me that Twitch just got disconnected. YouTube seems to be fine. Oh, okay. Well, we have to wait for Twitch to reconnect, but YouTube seems to be doing all right. Okay. Twitch should be back here. Need to refresh a few of the monitors here for that. Okay. Let's keep going here. Okay. Let's just...
Discovery Houston, press to ATO.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the Orbit Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the
Made a few oopsies there on the wing, but we'll get those sorted out sooner or later.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay, what else needs to be done here in white? We got a skull in his buckle. We'll get to that. Okay. Yeah, so I need a red. We'll have to come back for that at next time because I don't have any reds on me right now for that. For the quartz as well. I don't have any browns either. I have a very, very limited pink collection right now, so we got to come back for those as well. Okay, let's go do some apothecary white. See if we can get something going for the smoke, if we can at all. Should clear out the brush there. Okay, let's go back to this one. And let's open up our contrast paint here. Some more apothecary white. Let's see if we can get a good, more transitional effect on the smoke here. So we want it to be a little bit lighter on the edges of it. Very subtle. I think it'll be fine. We don't. I think it should be even whiter at the edge. So we're gonna go even more for the deep, and then we can try slapping on some more white towards the end of that. spread this around here a bit more. It doesn't have to be exactly even. It's smoke, so it's not going to expect to be full even effects there. Actually, it's coming alive a bit more there. So let's go grab some more of this. Go for the guy in the top section there. So get this area here. Should be able to spread this around a bit better. Okay. Once that dries, I do want to come back with the white. Hopefully we can mix that in. I don't know, mixing paints, who would have thought, but I think I have to mix a bit because the white is way too powerful if the one that I have, so we're going to need to mix that in with a little bit of the dark gray. Hopefully get a lighter color that can go on the tips here and on the edges to really put this smoke effect. Even though it's just 3 colors, hopefully that should be enough to transition properly. If I can really, you know, focus my camera here. There you go. To hopefully get that to make it all work. All right. Okay, so let's wait for a second here on this. These napkins aren't doing the trick. We go back to paper towels, please. Nope. Let's clear this brush. Let's actually just go with it anyway. So let's see. If we get a bit of the white here on my palette, transfer it over here. Okay, and let's get a bit of the gray there now. Just a tiny bit of the dark gray. Throw that in there together. Okay, so if we go to this edge here, will it show up as lighter? Oh yeah, a little bit lighter. But I don't think it's light enough actually, so I need to go back there. Let's go get a little bit more of the white. Mixing paints. Feels like I'm back in like elementary school now. Let's go back to this white here. Okay, this might have to do here. Yeah, it's kind of getting there. Might need to do another coat of apothecary white on top of this guy too, to really mellow out the smokiness of it. Go here. Just need to do it on the tip and a little bit inwards, and that should be good. It does not have to be. Doesn't have to be fully uniform because this is smoke. It's going to be dissipating, so we're okay with it being a little patchy. We just get a couple of washes in there of the apothecary white, and I believe that should really work out. Oh, yeah, the smoke's again. Fortunately, you can't see it very well on camera, but at least to me, it looks like it's coming alive pretty well in the smoke effect. So let me go back one more time with some apothecary white. Oh, it's got to dry first. Yeah, it's not fully dry yet. We'll wait for that. Now with that, what else can I be doing here? You know, I need to be entertained here about this because the current coat on this section of my wet palette here, this one over here, there's a bit of AK green, dark green, which has like no pigment in it. I really had trouble layering on that. So maybe one more layer of a nicely fully shaken. So I got this paint, AK's dark green, and it looks really nice and poppy, but I've been putting layers on this guy and the dark green is not really showing very well. So I'm gonna give this guy a really good vigorous shaking here, and we'll see if this wants to come out and play a bit to actually give me the pop that I desire on the model. Okay. It looks good. Consistency is fine. All right. So if I layered, Yeah, once more on this shoulder pad here. I've been having a lot of trouble with the shoulder pad. Okay, so that looks good on wet again. It always looks good wet, but we need to wait for it to dry to really make up our minds about this. Also, I need to spend this time to cover up the little oopsies that I made with the white of the wings on a shoulder pad. My left hand is shaking too much. Come on, let me stabilize so I can get this guy here. Good. I think that was the issue. That was a new bottle of AK Green. I did not shake it up so I can get the pigments all loaded up. This is looking a lot more promising now. Hopefully when it dries it can dull a little bit, but that shoulder pad is looking really good. So that's what I want to see. Okay, let's go back to his arm guard here. Yeah, okay. It's not as watery as it was before, and that was definitely my fault. Oh, I didn't realize those are skulls on his arm guard. Okay, well, we're gonna have to go white those guys up again. Give them the good old skull treatment then. Okay. Now this underarm angle is not very friendly to me. Let's see what I can do. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Now all of us, I guess that's a lesson to be learned. I just shaking that bottle made all the difference to make sure the pigments got all the way through. I was really suffering getting layers of pigment on this guy. I was layering, but the amount that I squeezed out was not fully consistent. All right, there you go. Now these are the greens are showing up the way that I need them to. Let's go back to each foot over here. Okay. Should be good enough for him. All right, let's go to this plate here on his hip. Okay. Well, I suppose when it's darkening, it's kind of a bright green, actually. Oh. Now it's almost like it's almost too much bright green, but whatever. Shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Now let's go to his other shoulder pad here. Can't really get to that part of the shoulder pad. Oh well. Back to this arm guard here. Okay. Need to reach this part of his arm guard. Okay, let's go do his power pack one more time. And we go back to those skulls on his arm guards. It's not that important, but I also want to make sure I can get the back side of his power pack here. Okay. Well, that brought this green back to life again. That's quite good. Let's go do his collar again here. Okay, let's get this little crevice here again. Okay. Actually, now that it's dry, the smoke effect is actually not that bad at all. I think I can live with that. Okay. I think from there, oh, we have to do the skulls on his arm guards, and then yeah, and I think that's all I can do with that model for now, and then I'll swap to a different model. So let's see what we can do here. Okay. Let's go back to our very fine detail brush here. Is there even enough white for me here? There really isn't. No, there's like no white left. Okay. Well, we have to go get ourselves a bit more of this Vallejo bright white here. Okay. And let's see what we can do. So on this guy's arm guard, there are a line of 3 skulls we need to very carefully paint into. Start some of that. So after this, yeah, so that will be painted, and we'll go over, once that dries, we'll go over with some Apothecary White as contrast paint to fill in the gaps. So that works out pretty well. We got one more arm guard to go here. Two more spots that I'm missing here. Oh, I think that's all I can do with that. We'll go back to some Apothecary White, and that will be all that I really can do for this model here. Till I get some new colors. Or actually, no. That's, hang on. No, there's one thing I can do here. So we have this little there's a little band basically on his shoulder pad that hopefully we can write something down if I'm actually good enough to freehand a name or something like that. I'll give a name to this guy afterwards. Any suggestions in chat, of course, for us to name this inner circle companion that we can write down on his shoulder pad band there. We'll see. Leave him in the chat. We'll see. But for now, let's just get this one going here. Okay. If the camera can focus, this model is literally right in front of it. There you go. Okay. So his band there is painted in. We'll have to come back over with a nice dark or black to write something in there if he's gonna have a name to him. And let's go do some apothecary whites and we can move to the next model. So, let's have a look here. Some apothecary white. Let's layer on over to cover up these skulls to not make it so crazy bright. Let's fill in those gaps. And they will dry off to give us the more matted effect that we're looking for. We did that one. We need to do this one here on his belt. That's good. And once more on this armband here. Using it to mellow out the white a little bit and fill in the gaps wherever it needs to. As this apothecary, it's basically like ink. Here, we'll just run right into the cracks of where we need it to go. Okay. And that is as much as I can do for this specific model. Hang on, sorry. This, what? Hang on. All of my things froze. Oh, okay. And this webcam froze. Okay, that was really weird. Okay, sorry. So, all of these, this is as much as I can do with this guy right now for the paints that I have currently. So, I got 3 of them in a squad, so we got to go to the next one now. So, that's quite good. This is finished one guy right here. And I think it worked pretty well. We have a good system, I think, for what we can want to have painted here. Especially with, I'm quite surprised the smoke effect even worked at all. But we'll come back to this one when we come back with more paints. And yes, thank you, Benny. Yeah, so we'll put this guy to the side and let's go to the second guy in this squad, which is going to be this guy. So yeah, there's one smoke effect we have to do for this guy now. So same idea. We got the robes, we got his green armor, all that good stuff. So let's take this from the top now for our second guy. Okay. So let's get started with his... Actually, what am I doing? That's not it. No, I completely forgot the order of things. No, we don't start with that dark green. We need to start with Caliban green, which is a bit darker and more dull. The layer is kind of important here. Let's see what happens if you do it correctly now. So going back, this is what we first started with at the start of this here. So you got some Caliban green, some nice dark green, not as dark, it's a bit darker and more dull than that dark green that we've been using with. So let's see what we can do here. Let's scoop some out. Reoccupy that corner that we were first starting in here. Okay, that should be good to start with here. Okay, so hopefully this should be good. Yep. Very dull green, but it allows us to get started with the base, which is something that the next green on top will be able to utilize to really fill in what we're lacking in terms of color. Okay, we'll come back and do another layer of this in a little bit. Let's go to the next section here. So we got this shoulder, well, arm. I can figure out what this called, this specific armor pad on him. So I'm not really worried about any spots that are really missed that much. Again, this will be all taken over by the next green. We just want some base layer that the next green can really stand out upon afterwards. So I want to make sure there really isn't much gray left. The gray or the black color from the primer, really want to make sure we get rid of all that so the paint can really stand out on its own. Okay, let's go over to an arm guard here. Okay. All right, that's good for that arm guard. Let's go to this shoulder pad here. Okay. And then let's get to his power pack again. See how well we can hopefully have enough paint for this. Oh no, we wouldn't. Okay. I have to grab some more. Okay. Some more of the Caliban green. Let's actually make sure we close this properly. Don't want to go on spilling paint now. Actually, let's shake this guy up here. Okay, should be enough for his power pack and any of the layers we need to do. Okay, let's do this. Let's just layer on some more on this guy. Actually, there's some armor pads you have to get to, like this one on his hip. Make sure we get that before we run out of paint. Okay. Let's get the feet here at the bottom, and then that should be it for all this Caliban green that I have left on the palette right now. Okay. Good. All right, let's move on to our good old 8K green afterwards here. And let's layer on the next layer of green. Hopefully this really pop out the way that we expected to previously. Okay. Those little thingies on it. Okay, whatever. Holy moly. Okay. I think I just realized something. Okay. Oh, we'll have to deal with that later on. Okay, I think that is it for all the parts that are green for this guy. I know what I'm talking about. He has the feet at the bottom. Okay, so those are the green parts of this guy. Now let's go to our good old steps of doing his hood and rope. I think I should do a bigger brush actually. It should be all faster that way. Let's see, let me get my number 1 brush here. Oh. All right, let's start first with some of that good old Galvorback red. Let's see how we can go about this guy. Okay. This should be done a lot quicker now that we know where we need to go here. So let's see, actually, let's make sure we don't get that much on it. This is just the first layer. It should be a lot faster to just simply throw it on there, and we'll come back with some more layers afterwards. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to then switch to a different brush. We need to get more precise on this, so I'll switch back here. So let's get just a little bit more of the Galvorback red so we can work with it. That much. How are we doing on a dry wet palette? That's got enough water in it. Okay. All right. Let's see. We go back to our finer tip brush here, and let's get to the smaller portions on his chest area and behind the arms. Okay, let's keep going with this. We're almost done with the chest area, and then we'll go back up to the hood to slap on the Screamer Pink to really get his robes to pop out over here. Make sure we just get into all the crevices where we can with this first layer, and we'll come back again with the second. Okay. It's quite difficult place to reach now. I think this really should be all that's really possible. I don't know if I can really get back there. Maybe here. It's about the best that I can do with that without getting the paint everywhere else. I don't want it to go. Okay, let's go with the hood, and then we will go with our layer of Screamer Pink then. Okay. All right then, let's go to our Screamer Pink, and we should very quickly layer that on top. And here's our Screamer Pink. Let's make sure we get a good amount here. We will scoop some out. Okay. All right. Let's start from the bottom side here, and this will give the good purple pop that we need to this robe here. Okay. Okay, that's his skirt done. Now we got to move up to the chest area again. Okay. Wow, that's looking a bit more like it. All right, so we got his robes done here. And we can move on to the next part. Let's just have some fun here. Let's go into the sword here. Go back to some good old silver. See if we can do that same effect again on a sword. Just need to dry up this brush here, get rid of all the paint. All right. And Twitch just disconnects on its own again. YouTube is completely fine though. Okay, let's go throw on this silver onto his sword here. Okay. Let's get just a little bit of water in there. It's a little bit dry. I'm running out of silver paint. We're gonna need some more. I have to grab the bottle here. Okay. Okay, so we got this blade in here. I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to get into every single letter. Okay, well, while that's dry, we'll get into our normal spots here. We'll do his little halo thing pluming out the smoke. Okay, we're gonna do his hilt. Okay, I think his arm guard here can also use a bit of silver here. This one specifically. Okay, and his other one as well. Okay, a little insignia on one of his shoulder pads that also needs a little bit of silver on it. Okay. Yeah, and let's do a bit of a silver accent on his pommel here. We need to make sure we go back with some more AK green on his hands. We forgot to do that. Okay, good. Then let's go ahead and get to. Let's try one more time. Actually, hang on. We can do his silver on his belt buckle. Now that's an idea. All right, cool. Okay, so let's go and get to a grand old time doing the bluing yet again. So we got a bit of blue contrast paint we can use to slap onto his sword to start the first effect of making it more powerful. So, got some of our Tasselar blue, which I've lovingly spilled a bunch of paint on, but nonetheless, this should be plenty good to work with. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. You know, let's make sure we get just a small amount here. Go. Click this again here. Okay, let's grab just a tad bit more here. Okay. So that should be the sword. All done and dusted right here. Give that a second to dry on the contrast, and then we'll slap on some lightning effects with some white if we can to really nail that thing home. So let's close that one up here. And we can start on some other whites for now, because there's a good number of skulls that we need to get to and some other parts that require a bit of white while we wait for that blue contrast to dry. So we will take our very thin, fine detail brush here. So we're gonna need some whites. Well, actually, yeah, we need the wings of both the shoulder pad and on his chest. It's gonna be a little bit hard to get to, but I think we should be fine for it here. Okay. Now, if the reach in here really get behind his arms here in his chest plate. A little bit crude for now, but that's all we can do. Okay, very well. All right, so let's see if we can do, if we water down the white a little bit, should be able to make an interesting lightning effect. Maybe, if I do it right. On his sword. That's about what I can do for now. Okay, I'll take that on his sword back there if my camera can focus. It's literally right in front of you. Well, yes, Crawdiff comes in with the question of how streaming goes so far in Warhammer. Yeah, it's been going on. That's actually my first time painting here. I mostly play full games on Tabletop Simulator, as that is pretty easy to stream. We've been getting fairly consistent numbers so far, but most of the time with streams, the way that YouTube seems to like it, still cannot get, for the life of me, this camera to focus on this guy here. But YouTube really wants people, if they're going to stream, they obviously stream consistently and for as long as they can. So usually for on this end, we usually stream for about 5 to 6 hours normally every time. So hopefully, Cardiff, if you're looking to get started, hopefully you can see hopefully through the algorithm maybe with some of the shorts that you're making. I know shorts are pretty popular as well because you can very quickly blast through things like lore and like getting started and stuff like that. So yeah, well, we'll see. Do you have any ideas of what you want to stream? Because at least for me, it's mostly is now going to be painting and actual full-length games.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Kit bashing videos and painting, yeah. Thank you, yeah. So no, hopefully, yeah, we'll see how well that goes for you. I know kit bashing is quite popular, so hopefully you can bring up some good inspirations about what people can do with their loose parts and things like that. Okay, let's set the edge here on this side, and that should be doing it for that effect on the sword there. Oh, well, that's the lightning effect that I think I can achieve, maybe a bit more white on this guy. Sure. Okay, then they'll do it for the whites there for this guy now. Now we need to get back to some grays and do some of the smoke on the back of his part there. Yes, Cardiff, this is, I'm painting some Dark Angels, the Inner Circle Companions. So I got a squad of 3 that I'm painting up here. I've already finished one. Well, finished as in do it as much as I could. I'm still missing a few colors. We need some reds and some leather colors here. But yeah, it's about the same kind of thing that we're dealing with this guy. So that's what we're doing for today. So I need to go back. I need to go do some grays because he's got a nice smoke trail on the back of his, well, not back, but top of his power pack. And that will take a few steps for us to get through all of the proper effects we can do with smoke, at least that I think is acceptable and doesn't take forever to do. Okay, so let's get some of the dark gray here that I already have saved from last time. And let's get started with this. Thank you. Yes. I mean, this is actually my first time painting this kind of model, so I just got a few ideas and we just threw it together. I mean, it looks similar to what the box normally would offer, but I got my colors and just trying to see what works. So we're taking with it and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah, but Cardiff, if you're looking to kit bash some things, what are some things that you normally do in terms of getting the parts and what exact models are you familiar with to put things together for. That's right, I need to go back and silver up the inside of that where the smoke isn't touching, so let's do that as well real quick. And converting an old MiG airplane to an Imperial Guard flyer. Oh, okay. Now a whole Chaos Army filming long from... Okay. Oh, that sounds exciting, yeah. So if it's a Chaos Army, is it a specific Legion or a Black Legion, or what section of Chaos Army do you currently have him painted under for? Let's go ahead and grab some silver here. Night Lords, okay, but non-traditional, okay. Yeah, Night Lords are a fan favorite for their vibe and what they look like. Yeah, if I were to really try my hand at some Chaos Space Marines, I personally would go for Alpha Legion. I do like their look as well. But that is going to be a long time away. I still need to finish this army. I still need to finish painting my Tau army. That's my actual main, and Dark Guns is my second. So there's a lot to work on first before I go anywhere close to that area, sadly.
Several computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Yep. Yeah. Alpha Legion, when I first heard them, what they're able to do, I'm like, ah, that sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, actually being able to start anything model-wise, that's a very long ways ahead. Okay. I think we'll accept that for that part right now. We have to go back and cover up some things with gray again. And then we need to mix in some white and gray to get a proper color, to make it lighter at the end there, and then go over some parts with Apothecary White to clear everything up here. So there's a bit of an oopsie that I had over here. Let's cover that up. Okay, that's fine. All right. So let's go. I need to go mix a few colors here together. See, I have some white left over. Grab a dollop of that. Okay. Let's grab some more of that dark gray. And let's mix. We're gonna need a little bit more white here. Let's get some more. Don't like that color yet. And Twitch decided to keep disconnecting, even though YouTube keeps going along fine. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by, Crowdiff, and we'll hopefully see you on the next one. Yeah, you stream about three times a week, so hopefully we'll see you on the next one. And I'll keep also my eye out for anything that you post. Hopefully, I should just look through that thing and be able to find a channel. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Let's see, make sure we don't keep this guy falling off here. All right, so we should have enough of this lighter gray color here. There we go. Get this guy going. Doesn't have to be even for this smoke effect here. Just needs to be at the edge of it, so that way we know that it's dissipating. At least that's the effect that we want to get. Okay, that's fine. So we got the two colors there. It's kind of easy to see where it starts and where it ends. But as long as we give this a good wash of some Apothecary White, I think we should be good on that department. Okay. So while we wait for that to dry, I think I need to go back a couple times with some greens. I missed his hands. Those need to be greened up as well. We green up his hands. I don't think anything else needs. Maybe try to green. He has a helmet, so I can try to green his helmet. Thankfully, because he's wearing a hood, we don't have to pay too much attention to the helmet. So as long as we get a good base coat of the dark green that we have, we all ran out. Okay. So let's go back there and do some of that, and then we'll come back with some Apothecary White back on the smoke to finish that smoke effect. All right. So the dark green, if I can find it, my paints are going everywhere. They're here. Okay. So you get this good old AK dark green here. Might even working well after we mixed it well enough to get all the pigments coming out here. Just need a very little bit. We go over some last parts here. So let's go over his hands. Okay. Those hands, let's get to his face here, underneath that hood. Okay, we'll come back. We'll get, I think, some red for his eyes, I suppose, to really get the immersion in to his face here. That camera can only see it. If I pull it too close, you won't be able to focus. But there are some spots for his eyes we need to get back to at a later time. Okay, so let's finish with some of this part on his chest. That should also be green as well. There we go. One underarm spot needs to be green. Okay. I think that'll do it for those green spots. Now let's finish up with some Apothecary White on the smoke. And then we should be done with the smoke effects for that. Alright, so go to Apothecary White contrast paint. Should be able to make the merging successful with the smoke effect that we want. It doesn't have to be fully there because we just want the effect to show up. So if it's a little spotty, then that's perfectly fine. It's smoke, it's not fully painted armor pieces and anything like that. And then once it dries, it should be looking quite nice as a good transition from darker to lighter there on the smoke. Okay. Oh, we have a little bit of white to go over. We have we have a skull on the hilt that we need to do. And maybe the wings inside the sword as well. So got a few details to go over, so let's do that real quick. A little bit of white, we can go over this skull here. Okay, let's see if we can get to that back part of that skull. Making complete fool of ourselves. Okay, let's go with some of the wings here. Okay, and the smoke effect looks pretty okay for my standards right now. All right, but I think that would actually do it for today. I think we'll have to go continue the rest of this at a later time. We're streaming for about almost 5 hours now. So hopefully this was a good start for us, because I think I do have a lot of things to paint. So I'll have to collect some more paints as we keep going, and we'll go and launch this again. Most likely Saturday night. If we have a game setup, we might do that. But nonetheless though, so thank you all for coming in today. But I think that'll be it for what we have planned for. Again, this setup doesn't seem too bad. I kind of moved my camera everywhere. But anyways though, hopefully be back again at the very latest will be Tuesday. But nonetheless, thank you everyone for coming in today, and we'll see you all next time.